Do you know this could save your life? Yes, the pineapple is calling you. Well, you might think that sounds quite ridiculous. Is it going to push you away from a car that's heading towards you? No. Or is it going to stop you from drinking that fourth bottle of wine in the next 2 days? Of course not. So, what can it do? Let me explain. But first, I have a couple of very important things to share here and a little story of my own that will definitely reiterate one of my points. Don't miss it, especially if you have any joint pain from arthritis. You'll be glad you stayed. It's not a miracle, but for me, it certainly feels like one. So before I go there, let's get to the first couple of points that I feel are crucial to understand. Hello, I'm Susan from the Healthy Lifestyle Activator, helping people to get their health back on track. Look, I'm sure at some point you have listened to a motivational speaker, yeah? Maybe they've suggested you can do more than you're doing at the moment. Maybe they say, you can do this. Well, I do say that myself. It's probably true in most cases, of course. What about watch your negative self chatter? Or you are more amazing than you realize. Has someone else done this? If they can do it, you can do it. But my favorite one of all is Natalie Ledwell saying, well, she might not be the first person to say it, it's the first place I heard it. She said, bite off more than you can chew and chew like mad. Excuse the pun. Doesn't always work, by the way. So watch that one. Or slightly more confronting, do you have self-imposed limitations? Or what is the cause of you tapping into such a little potential? Wow. Don't get me wrong, I love these profound teachings. They're really, really powerful. I use them myself as long as you can back them up with something tangible. And if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that I'm not a lover of the word realistic. You know, like the acronym SMART, the R in SMART, or in GROW for the life coaching. Because the word realistic is so dependent on the person's perception from what they have been used to doing or not doing, and the commitment they're prepared to put in or not put in. So, is realistic walking half a mile from your door or walking on the moon? That was realistic for somebody. What about playing football for your local club or playing for Crystal Palace in London? That's realistic for someone too. What is realistic to you? Can you lift that ceiling that is stopping you from rising above it? One thing we do know for sure is that we can usually expect more from ourselves if we decide to. But would you agree that sometimes listening to how amazing you can be and what you can achieve from someone that doesn't know you can be slightly addictive? I used to do it. I did more listening to how amazing I could be than actually doing it myself. And I heard my mentor say one day, don't let your learning lead to more learning, it must lead to action. It's very profound. Look, we all love hearing these things. Yes, you can think differently. Yes, you can definitely act differently. In fact, you must if you want a different result. It is true. I say these things to myself regularly and to my clients, and they know that I don't want them to fall short of their full potential. But here's the thing. Changing doesn't come easily to most people because the way we think and certain behaviours that we have are often ingrained into us for so long, maybe decades. For some people, it's really hard to imagine something different. Although, I'd just like to add, just because it's difficult, it doesn't mean it can't be done. But, and this is the important part, taking on this challenge with losing weight or getting really fit or getting much healthier without sufficient knowledge of how to achieve it is going to be your first leap to giving up and failing and feeling as though it can't be done, which is where a lot of people fall down. But how do you know what you need to know? How do you know what questions to ask? How do you know what you're reading or listening to is right for you? At the end of the video, I am hoping that you're going to know the answers to some of these things. Okay, well, I'll get back to the pineapple in a minute. Just want to share a small example with you. Let's take vitamin D, for example. I often talk about D because I'm always talking about how important it is to spend time outside, which is one of the benefits of how we make our vitamin D. The ultraviolet rays of the sun activate a type of cholesterol found in our skin, forming the pre-vitamin D, so that we can then make it. Now, vitamin D, you might know, is really important in helping the absorption of calcium and magnesium. That's vital for neuromuscular transmissions, bone strength, muscle and teeth health. Also serves in the utilization of amino acids. So when we don't get enough, the amino acids aren't used and they just pass out in our urine, which then reduces the quality of repair and growth and maintenance of our muscles. We don't want any of that. Are you starting to see how knowing one thing might not be the thing that you need to know? It's not to make you feel despondent, quite the opposite. Look, you might know if you were deficient in vitamin D, symptoms like loss of appetite, massive thirst, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. These are symptomatic of vitamin D, but to be honest, they're symptoms of a lot of deficiencies. So you're probably, if you had all that, you'd probably want to be going to hospital. A deficiency in D can also cause muscle cramps, mainly because the magnesium and calcium involved in muscle function, and they're like to be reduced as well, as I mentioned. Look, this is important. If you have naturally black skin or dark skin, even dark from a long-term suntan, the sun support is reduced quite dramatically. So a supplement could be beneficial. Or in the winter, if you don't eat fish or meat, you don't get any vitamin D in vegetables. Although sun is still the best source. So just get outside. But don't be thinking, I don't get out enough, so I need a supplement. Especially taking large doses can be toxic and it can cause irreparable damage to your kidneys. Also, what if you were to take a supplement and because you don't know of its role in calcium absorption, of course you do now, but you could also be taking a calcium supplement and then the balance to magnesium is disrupted. Is this making sense? Here's the thing that I'm getting to. When you eat an array of balanced, nutritionally packed food and you get outside and you move around, all the vitamins, minerals, and trace elements are there to function in a way that is meant to. Like sugar is completely and utterly useless on its own. But if you eat it in an apple with all the nutrients around it, then it needs to be converted. It's totally fabulous. Then, like magic, without having to learn too much at all we have to do is enjoy great natural food and we have great natural health. Are you with me? Look, I know there's more to health than what we eat, but it's such an easy place to start. So now I want to go right back to the pineapple. This is absolutely no relevance to vitamin D whatsoever. In fact, there is no vitamin D in pineapple at all. Went off track a little bit there. Although you will see some similarities in the principle, of course. So I'm keen to talk about it, especially if you have some pain, some joint pain. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because although it's complicated in its biochemical process, to help you, it's really quite simple. If you have joint pain, there's a good chance it is caused by systemic prolonged inflammation brought on by a consumption of processed food, trans fat, sugar, maybe slightly overconsumption of alcohol, creating weight gain, gut digestive problems, raised cholesterol, insulin resistance, perhaps even diabetes, and ultimately chronic disease. Here's where the problem is. We learn that fibrin is crucial for blood clotting, wound healing, inflammation for protection, and immune response when we have an injury. And it is there to help. But if we produce too much, we can end up with the opposite effect. So what do I mean by that? Well, it can ultimately be devastating for brain and heart health, but that's for another day. But at the very least, persistent deposits can build up in joints and be the actual cause of the ongoing pain. It's the opposite of what it's meant to do. So we need to stop it producing and reduce it. There are many ways to reduce fibrin dramatically. One, reduce your processed food consumption. You know this. The trans fats, the sugar, the additives, the fillers, the blockers, and everything that's not food. All the things that create toxins that our bodies can't actually process. It takes so much energy for your body to get rid of. And then there's none left for anything else. Two, eat pineapples. Pineapples have a proteolytic enzyme called bromelain that helps dissolve the fibrin, reducing inflammation, removes toxins from your blood, and reduces swelling. Fantastic. Now, we do make bromelain ourselves, but as we have more years behind us, we produce less and less. So it's wise to get it from as much as possible from our food if you're a bit older. And if you're on blood thinners, medicated blood thinners, consult your doctor. Please consult your doctor, as it could complicate the issue. Bromelain is also in ginger and turmeric, and although I put those fresh in my smoothies regularly, when I had the news that my pain in my toe was arthritis, the first thing I did was up my intake of pineapple. And do you know what? I haven't heard a squeak from my toe since. You might think that's a coincidence, but even if it is, remember it is also packed with vitamin C, antioxidants, and masses of fibre that also help eliminate toxins. But don't go crazy and overindulge. I probably eat about 2 a week now, and what great value. It's only about £3. I can tell you what happens if you don't know enough. When I was living in Australia in the 80s, I was traveling and picking fruit to earn a living. This was enormous fun, washing in the rivers and lagoons, climbing the rainforest, cooking on the open fire, and just generally feeling free and having fun. One day we came across an area where there was no work. We'd run out of money, run out of fuel for our truck. All the fruit was picked or not ripe yet. So we actually ended up doing something actually very different, but that's for another story. But in the meantime, we met a guy with a pineapple farm. There was no work at the pineapple farm, but he did give us a very large amount of pineapples. Well, I knew very little about nutrition then, but what I did know is that fruit and vegetables were very, very good for you. Processed food was very, very bad for you. So, as far as I was concerned, it was a marvellous win. We had these magnificent, freshly picked pineapples, but that was all. Ooh, I cannot tell you how ill I was. It would be inappropriate to explain here and now. Suffice to say, I found out the hard way. Happily, it never put me off pineapples. But look, nothing has a benefit if we overindulge in one thing. I'm a bit of a martyr, and I give my skin of the pineapple to my chickens. They love it, and I probably benefit from it in the long term, but I should probably eat it myself. I usually juice the middle stem, and it has a cracking amount of nutrients in it, all crucial. If you smoothie it, you keep the fibre, and it's all crucial for ridding toxins from our body and giving our liver a well-earned rest. Remember, all the anti-inflammatory properties in the ginger and the omega-3 fatty acids can break down fibrin too. And it also aids in digestive process. If you find it a bit acidic, just put some really lovely full fat Greek yogurt with it and enjoy. I love the idea that this delicious pineapple can do so much for us. But how does a pineapple save your life? Well, now you have reduced less or no pain, you can jump out of the way of the moving cars coming towards you. And now, with all the extra nutrients you're eating and so much more energy, you're much more likely to go dancing than you are to sit drinking the alcohol. Look, there is so much to learn about nutrition that can help us, and so much to learn about toxins that can harm us. But really, there is no need to know a lot. Just know that your body knows what to do with an abundance of great food and enjoy it. Can we get all our nutrients that we need from food? Interesting question for the next video. I really hope this has helped. Cheerio. See you soon.